Hi everybody, Keith Schweigert here from lanksports.com with your preview of the PIAA Class AA state semifinal clash between Lancaster Catholic and Philadelphia West Catholic. This one's going to get underway Saturday at 1 p.m. at Coatesville High School. If you can't make it to the game, be sure to come to lanksports.com where I'll be blogging live from bringing you all the action on the field, all the scoring, all the touchdowns. There should be a lot. It's going to be a great game. Lancaster Catholic fans should have no trouble remembering Philly West Catholic. It was the Burrs that ended their season last year in the state semifinals with a 37-14 triumph. Depending on who you talk to in the Crusader sidelines, this is either the revenge game they've been looking forward to all year or just another game that's not a big deal and nothing really to get too upset about. Just a hunch, I think the players that are leaning toward the revenge factor are probably the ones that are a little bit closer to the truth. I have a feeling Lancaster Catholic was really happy to get this game to see West Catholic knock off North Skoka last week and set up a rematch in the semis. This year's version of the Burrs is a little different from last year's, though. The electrifying quarterback that West Catholic had last year, Curtis Drake, he graduated. He's now playing at Penn State. They also had two 1,000-yard rushers in their backfield in addition to Drake. Both those guys are gone as well. So the Burrs had to reinvent themselves a little bit in the offseason, and they've done that. Now it's their defense that does the heavy lifting for them. And that defense is pretty darn good. West Catholic allows just 169 yards per game this season, 70 on the ground and 99 through the air. Opposing teams have scored just 157 points against them, or 11.2 per game. And West Catholic has also forced 35 turnovers this season, 16 fumbles, 19 interceptions. And while the offense isn't quite as spectacular as last year's was, it's still pretty darn good. Quarterback Jared Evans set a school record this year with 1,754 passing yards. He's completed 97 of 106 throws, 15 of which have gone for touchdowns, and he was only picked off 4 times. His top target is Coran Kent. He had a school record 753 yards and 7 touchdowns on 38 receptions. And the ground game is paced by junior Brandon Holloman, who has 1,350 yards and 14 touchdowns on 173 attempts. And then they have a pint-sized speedster named Joshua Mathis, all 5'5", 140 pounds of him. He has 880 yards and 14 touchdowns. West Catholic averages 345 yards and 32.6 points per game, so they can still score, they can still put up some numbers. West Catholic is 12-2 in the year. They're ranked second in the state in AA by the Harrisburg Patriot News. Their 2 losses came to a pair of teams that are still alive in their respective state playoff brackets. That's LaSalle College, the Quad A semifinalists. They lost that game 16-14, and they also lost to the AAA semifinalists Archbishop Wood 28-21. The record of their other regular season foes isn't very impressive, but since the playoffs have started, West Catholic has won their last 3 playoff games against teams that were previously undefeated, including a 19-14 win over North Skoka last week in that snowstorm. Lancaster Catholic comes in as the Patriot News' top-ranked AA team. They had their hands full in the snow with Loyalsock last week, but held on for a 19-13 win. In that game, quarterback Kyle Smith tied the state record for touchdown throws in a season. He threw 3 touchdown passes to bring his season total up to 49. That's the 3rd state record he's broken this year. He also has 8,345 career passing yards and 117 career touchdown passes. Those are both state marks. Smith has completed 155 of 247 passes for 2,557 yards this season, and he's only been picked off 6 times. The Crusader ground game is paced by Jordan Stewart, who has a school record 1,460 yards and 19 TDs in the season. Tyler Purvis is the top receiver, 885 yards, 17 touchdowns on 57 receptions. Catholic averages 372 yards and 41 points per game. So something has got to give here on Saturday as Lancaster Catholic's unstoppable offense goes up against West Catholic's impenetrable defense. Who's going to win? Well, we got the number 1 and number 2 teams in the state going at it, so I think it's going to be a toss-up. It's going to come down to a handful of plays either way. In the end, I'm going to take the Crusaders. They probably still are at a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to speed, but the gap isn't quite as wide as it was last year. And despite last year's lopsided final margin, Lancaster Catholic was in that game for quite a while. I think the Crusaders find a way to get it done in the rematch on Saturday. We'll see if I'm right.